Good morning, Ada.
Good morning, Ada.
Oh, and I also see Andrew, our CTO.
Welcome, welcome. Ada, I really like your hypeo. I like the color scheme of it.
Thank you. Thank you. I thought I had some great times during COVID. Well, a lot of people were suffering. I escaped Europe and went to Costa Rica and to the Caribbean and fell in love with surfing, at which I'm like absolutely suck. But I thought having an ocean, it's like a reminder of those good days. And it's a little bit calming in this crypto roller coaster. So I see it and I'm like, oh, it's okay. There's a world outside of here.
We can be zen. Are you ready, Toast?
I'm ready. Yeah, I'm ready to get started.
Fabulous. Ada or Andrew, you want to tell us first a little bit about yourselves, background?
Of course, happy to start. Yeah, I was figuring out what to do in my life and then ended up learning about blockchain back in 2017. And then a few months fast forward, I was doing an ICO. It was beginning of 2018 with a company called Limpo. And we did health data monetization first, and then we pivoted to NFTs, and the company got acquired by Animoca Brands. And this is how my journey in Web3 started. And then I did a few more things in consulting, working in a Web3 AI company. And then around the beginning of this year, I had a chance to learn more about quantum threat to crypto. And I thought to myself, wow, this is a massive challenge. It's like a problem that is existential. And I thought, wow, it makes really sense to join a group of people that are trying to solve this. So this is how I ended up doing that. And then I discovered the Hyperliquid community. We can talk about that a bit later, but in various roles, I have launched products on Ethereum, BNB chain, Polygon, Solana, and none of that was like this community. So I'm very happy I discovered that. And now we're chatting here today and have some time to go through all of this. And let me now ask Andrew to share his story, which is very different.
Yeah, thank you, Ada. Yeah, exactly like what Ada says. My background is totally from a different place. I actually wear two hats. I am currently the CEO of a Canadian public company focused in cybersecurity. And I also wear a second hat, which is the CTO of QLab, which Ada is running, which is focused in creating quantum safe token. My primary role as the CEO of Zero and Quantum, we're not a startup. We have been a public company in Canada for more than 20 years already. Only that I would say recent years, about 7 years ago, we started the post-quantum journey. And we have been in the cybersecurity space for almost 20 years, and mostly helping the larger organizations such as CGI or Hitachi in Japan, PwC or Thales in France for the cybersecurity world. And as I said, about 7 years ago, we started to dive into post-quantum space because we started to notice that the excessive computing power of quantum computer is going to render everything under the sun become vulnerable if you're not protected, whether you are using email or financial or cryptocurrencies or AI, doesn't matter, everything will be vulnerable. So then just I would say the last probably 2-3 years, we are expanding the quantum protection from the Web 2 space into the Web 3 space. And this is about where the time of our path crossing with Ada. And so we are now very full-time helping Q Labs in creating the world's first truly quantum safe token. First of all, running on Hyperliquid, and then likely will be running on the other platform too, because the technology that we had, which is the patent pending, is independent of chain, which means it can be applied light on Hyperliquid, Solana, Ethereum, even the Bitcoin. So that's about how our background, what we were doing before, and what we are now partnering heavily with Q Labs.
Well, that's a lot. And I love the experience. We get a lot of cool people up here, but I do have to tell you, I have no idea what you guys do though.
I
Yeah,
won't
I mean,
blame you. I
That's
won't
why we're
blame you.
here. That's what we're here. So maybe it's a big topic. Maybe Andrew can give some very simple intro into quantum computers, these very powerful computers, and where we are with them right now. And then we
Yeah,
can talk about quantum and crypto. So
sure.
just merge the two of those.
Absolutely, I'd love to. I think I won't spend too much time talking about how quantum computer works, those kind of like quantum entanglement, quantum superpositioning, because if I do that, I guarantee everyone will fall asleep within 1 or 2 minutes. So what I'm going to focus on instead would be the result that the quantum computer is, you can view that as a very high level point of view as some very fast computer, and their excessive computing power is going to render everything that we use to protect the internet totally useless, right? Or AKA, the world is calling this the unprecedented cybersecurity threat, right? Q day, which is the day when the bad guys are using quantum computers to do the dirty works. So in other words, on and after Q day, what I said before, everything under the sun, like whether you're using email or financial or crypto or AI, will be totally vulnerable. So our business is diving into protecting the world. Doesn't matter what application you are, to convert from being quantum vulnerable to being quantum safe. So I guess the $1 trillion question that every people would ask, including many I think on this chat here, is about when Q day would starting to hit the world. So there's really no definitive answer for that, but there are lots of writings on the wall that you can read. The first is from about 10 months ago when Google made the first announcement of their breakthrough in quantum technology. Actually, Google made a follow-up announcement yesterday, at the end of business yesterday, about how they can apply the Willow chips to the real world, right? And then Microsoft, within 2 months, they also announced that they have the Mario Run. I don't know why I keep seeing that was this. It almost looks like marijuana to me, but it is actually called Mario Runner One technology that would allow all the qubits to be squeezed into one single chip, up to 1 million pieces of it. And then, obviously, not surprised to me that later on, Honeywell, about 6 months ago, announced that they will release a new version within this year, which they haven't done it yet. They said within this year, they will release a new version of quantum computer that is going to be 1 billion times, like not a typo, it's 1 billion times faster than the predecessor. And then last but not least was IBM announced their latest roadmap about 3 months ago, calling for the delivery of Loon this year and then followed by Kookaburra next year. But most importantly, they are calling for a full fault tolerant quantum computer by 2029. So what does it mean in layman terms? It means Q day would not stretch beyond 2029 if you follow just IBM's roadmap. So if there's anyone here, whether you are Honeywell or Microsoft or Google or D-Wave, whoever managed to beat IBM, they are just moving the needle sooner. But the most scary part, I would say, or important part, is that all these writings on the wall are only from the open world. There are some closed worlds, such as Russia and China, whose vendor never published the roadmap. So I am very convinced that there will be a very much like the AI DeepSeek alike kind of event, that one day on the most unexpected day, you will see a company you never heard of, from whether it's Russia or China, saying that, hey, this is our quantum computer. We beat everyone. If you're not prepared by that day, you basically toasted. And I will also say by closing that all these writing on the wall, if you don't believe in them, don't worry. Don't listen to them. All you have to listen is what the government says, right? So what does the government says? First of all, the US government, the executive office of the US president, they issued a NSM-10 paper, official NSM-10 letter to all the agencies, asking them to be very mindful about a very famous attack called the HNDL, Harvest Now, Decrypt Later, whereby the hackers are getting hold of your public data. Yes, they cannot decrypt, but they hold on to it until they get hold of a quantum computer, then they decrypt, right? So the public key, meaning the is part of your wallet, may have already been collected by the hackers, and then they just do the HNDL when they got hold of a quantum computer. So no wonder why Howard Lutnick, the U.S. Secretary of Commerce, about 4 months ago, he was on the CNBC interviews. He said openly on TV, he says the worldwide cybersecurity will be totally broken by quantum computers if we don't act immediately. The last but not least, the Carney government of Canada also has named quantum computing technology as a priority topic in G7 meeting. Now, last but not least is that the ink is still wet. Starmer and Trump, about 4 weeks ago, they have signed a quantum computing pact designed to counter China's aggressive attempt in this area. This is dovetailing into what I said earlier. I'm expecting something will be coming out of China that is they are not announcing anything, but suddenly they would announce a computer that is beating everyone. That's why they're doing all these kind of things. So no wonder why the main business leaders, such as the founder of Ethereum, Buterin, and the CEO of Nvidia, and the founder of Tether, have already been publicly warning about the 2020, a possible 2028 or earlier Q-Day attack on the not just the crypto world, but basically everything, right? So I guess this is what I said about the quantum computer, where we are now, where we should be expecting for the Q-Day threat to happen. So I guess this is my summary about others' questions.
So this is DeFi for Dummies, and you've laid out a lot of information here. I'm familiar with quantum risk in crypto. So just to say it like very simply, if this was a game of Rochambeau, rock, paper, scissors, currently you have cryptography that secures Bitcoin, and that beats everyone else. But quantum computing beats cryptography. So it's like this new player is coming in,
Would
and
you
it's
liken
essentially
it more to 4D chess? Quantum 4D chess? Get it?
maybe I get it, but unfortunately 4D chess is not really intuitive. But essentially we have this third player in this game of rock, paper, scissors that isn't available now. But thanks to the advances in quantum technology, sometime in the next 5 years is what our guest is calling, what many other experts are calling. This new tool will come online that beats cryptography. And that means that they can steal your Bitcoin, they can steal your Ethereum, they can break our blockchains. And so the technology on the cryptography side needs innovation to protect against the quantum risk. Am I getting this right?
Yeah, I think I like your analogy of the rock, paper, scissors. Is the new quantum computer somehow can read your mind about what you are going to play the next the next round, right? But then the technology here is to put a quantum safe wrapper so that the quantum computer cannot read what you're going to do next. And that's the kind of protection. Because quantum computer coming in, they are not like a lot of people have the misunderstanding saying that quantum computer is breaking the blockchain. No, they are not breaking the blockchain. They are simply breaking the digital signature of your wallet, so that they don't even need to guess your 24 the seed phrase, 24-word seed phrase. They just basically taking your public key and then reverse engineer your private key out of it, right? Which is impossible to do with today's supercomputer. But with a quantum computer, with all these kind of multitasking power of quantum nature, they can do it within minutes or even seconds eventually. That's the kind of the threat. And then in a nutshell, the technology that we provide or we have been researched for so many years is to wrap around the signature with a quantum safe signature that quantum computer cannot take advantage of the power to reverse engineer from the public key. So that's basically in a nutshell what we are providing as a protection for the crypto world.
If I can add something here, I'm definitely also this person who learned about this very recently, less than a year ago, in more detail. And what stood out for me was that so we know that quantum computing is advancing, right? Andrew mentioned so many milestones that various companies are hitting right now, and this timeline is accelerating. People thought like maybe just a year ago or a few years ago that this is going to be in 20 years, and now everyone is saying maybe it's in 5 years. So we know that. And we also know that big companies, big tech is preparing for that. So that quantum computers cannot hack our passwords, so that they cannot read our emails, our Twitter group chat messages, our Telegram messages. They're all upgrading their technology already now. Apple, Google, Microsoft, AWS, so that whatever you store there is not becoming a target of a quantum attack. But in blockchain, like in crypto, we're nowhere close. Like Bitcoin is exposed, all EVM chains are exposed, Hyperliquid is exposed, Solana is exposed. And then I saw Jeff yesterday talking that his ambition is really to host all finance. And he means the total market of finance, that all of that should be on Hyperliquid. And still, we don't know how we're going to solve that problem. So I was thinking, why is that the case? Why aren't people in crypto doing more? And then we learned in this process that actually it's very complex and there are not so many good solutions out there. And QLabs is bringing one of them to actually release quantum safe assets in that are stored in a quantum safe wallet, which is like what I mentioned, has this double lock. So you open with one key, but then you need to open the door with another key, and that another key cannot be cracked by quantum computers. But in the long term, we really hope that we can contribute to protecting the chain itself. That would be the ultimate dream, of course.
Yeah, I think you couldn't put it better, Ada. This is the kind of like the summary. And I would like to add one comment that it, the reason why crypto is falling behind compared to other companies like Apple, Microsoft, and Google, they have already started the quantum migration and having some of their core components quantum safe already. But then the reason why crypto is seriously lacking behind is the reason is very simple because it is very difficult for crypto to update becoming quantum safe. Initially, when we first recognized the problem about 3 years ago, we thought it is simple. And obviously, if it is so simple, everyone would have done that already. Bitcoin, Ethereum, they have done it already. But then the why Buterin has posted and he called urgent request on the Ethereum community was because it is very hard to do because the cryptocurrencies is using the word crypto. Why is it saying crypto? Is because they are using cryptography as the fundamental bedrock in the in the security protection, right? So in other words, this means the bedrock of the building has been weakened, right? When the bedrock of a building has been weakened, everything else will be affected. So if you are changing the signature to a quantum signature, the quantum signature is too large to fit into the data structure of a transaction in, say, Ethereum or Hyperliquid or something. So it just doesn't work. It's not compatible. So what we have done in the last 3 years was going through heavy R&D, inventing protocol we call the QCW, Quantum Crypto Wrapper technology, that would allow us to effectively wrapping the second lock, like Ada says, the second lock without having to change the data structure of the underlying blockchain. We can squeeze them into it so that it is fully compatible, retaining the seamless compatibility. Yeah, that's the difficult part. And just like any people says, an overnight success usually have about 7 years of hard work behind it. So yeah, it's no different in crypto and what we are doing for together with QLabs.
So two things. One, I just many flowers to the both of you because that's all incredibly hard conceptually, I know, but you guys did what I love about DeFi for Dummies. I always say a lot of people can drive a car without knowing the mechanics, and I think you guys did a really great job because I don't feel completely lost and wanting to go to sleep now. So I appreciate you both for that. I think that's amazing, and I think that's extra good because when I feel like when you're working with safety and security protocols, being able to educate is a really valuable tool. Massive flowers for that. I think you hit on another thing with crypto culture, which is we equate fact that is negative with FUD and we prefer to just hide from it. Also, flowers for stepping up to the plate because usually we prefer the avoidance tactic. But I did wonder what I heard was all these, pardon my language, the dick swinging contests on the announcements of announcements going on between all these companies. Does that mean that low key you guys might be a little bit more ahead of the game and less performative than what all of these companies say that they're all capable of doing and have yet to produce?
Yeah, we gotta say that it is. It is. There's nothing that definitely not. We are not the only parties who can do that. It's only that we have identified the problem earlier than other people. We identified it like 3, 4 years ago, and as I mentioned, about 3 years ago, we already started to dig deep, roll up the sleeve, and do the dirty work, and try to see how we can convert an existing chain to become quantum safe. And at that time, briefly mentioned too, we were using Solana as our sandbox. And then we thought it is going to be very simple that, oh, yeah, you're just replacing the elliptic curve signature with a quantum safe signature. And then, yeah, just so simple. But then only after changing it, it's just any kind of engineering. Software engineering is no different from other engineering. When you change one, you change the fuel type in an engine, suddenly the engine doesn't work anymore. So you have to really reinvent the engine, the cylinder, and the fuel type so that it would be compatible with it. So we have that luxury of recognizing that problem almost 3 years ago, and therefore we already have a solution today. While I would say all of the people who recognize the problem were basically where we were 3 years ago, only recognizing, yeah, replacing the signature by a quantum signature, but then the whole chain doesn't work. You have to do a hard forking, which doesn't make sense. No one like hard forking in crypto. So yeah, so we were enjoying that kind of 2, 3 years of a lead time, which is very important in quantum safety, because as I keep saying, I totally believe the Q day would arrive within 3 years. It's not 5 years. 5 years was just what Google actually they made an announcement, as I said yesterday, at the end of the day. Google publicly and anticipating quantum being a practical application within 5 years. So when they have a practical application within 5 years, then the cracking application, which is much easier to do than practical business application, will definitely be earlier than 5 years. Yeah, I'm fully expecting within 3 years, the Q day would hit within the world. And if it is not already there by the national level, usually national level, you remember, are always about 3 to 5 years ahead of the commercial level. So I would be very surprised if the US, Russia, or Chinese government don't already have a special purpose quantum computer doing nothing but just cracking things. That's the national level. But yeah, so we got to be ready. We have no time to wait. And I always telling people that it is like the last James Bond movie saying no time to die. And yesterday is gone, today is the day, and tomorrow is too late.
So, oh,
I
go ahead,
oh
Ada.
go toast. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I had a couple of things, but I was going to ask a sort of in-depth question about if there's something that blockchain users need to do to protect themselves, or if this is something that's happening at the protocol level where technology like yours needs to be integrated and users just continue to do it. I guess the question is like, what can individual users do to protect themselves, individual chain users like us?
Yeah, they just have to be protected on the wallet level. So maybe Ada can give a little bit more detail about what Q Labs is planning to do on the wallet. And the chain itself is safe, but the wallet is what a user on the crypto industry should be protecting against.
So I would say a few things. So of course, what Andrew alluded to is we're gonna release, first of all, Q Labs quantum resistant governance and community token. And then the next step is going to be a quantum resistant hype. So there we will offer our users a possibility to come to our platform to commit hype and to receive a quantum resistant hype in our wallet, which is protected with these two keys. So then quantum computers cannot crack this wallet even if they attempt to. And then you can still earn yield from the underlying asset. You can stake it, you can commit it in vaults. We're not going to manage that. We're a non-custodial provider, but we're going to take a cut from the yield. So this is our business model. But for that, we offer this quantum resistant token. It's also possible to use it further in DeFi. And we also offer our governance protocol tokens for those who hold and stake quantum resistant hype. So this is what is going to be possible within the next few months. For now, for today, if you're on EVM chain, and as Andrew said, it's not important if your funds are with a centralized exchange or in a ledger like in a cold wallet or hot wallet. There's going to be not more protection from this particular threat there. Just what I know, and Andrew, please confirm if I understand this correctly. I always have to double check stuff with Andrew because it's so complex. But if you hold Bitcoin, then it's important that you hold Bitcoin in a wallet from which you have not ever spent that Bitcoin, because Bitcoin works a bit differently than EVM chains. So the wallets that are exposed, or at least exposed first, are those that already sent Bitcoin somewhere from their wallet, because this is the moment when the public key is revealed. And we learned today from Andrew that quantum computers will reverse engineer your private key from that public key. So I would say if you're very concerned, even today, you hold Bitcoin, see if you hold it in a wallet that has never spent that Bitcoin. Am I correct, Andrew?
I've heard the same advice on the Bitcoin chain, and I guess that this is protection against quantum risk, is that if you are self-custodying Bitcoin, that just like Ada said, your cold storage should send, if you need to spend your Bitcoin, what you need to do is create a new wallet, spend your Bitcoin, and take whatever's left in your wallet and move it into a new wallet that you have not sent Bitcoin from. Is that right?
Yep, absolutely. And the only thing I would like to add is that it's not just Bitcoin, but basically any other major coins, whether you are Ethereum or you are Solana or Hyperliquid, is the same thing. That your wallet is your public key will not be exposed until the first sending outbound transaction, right? Then it will be exposed. So once it's exposed, you have to then hide it again into a new wallet. It's very clumsy, but it is a way to protect an interim protection before true quantum safe token becomes available, like the one that QLabs is about to release. A lot of my personal friends come to me, I gave them the same kind of advice saying that, hey, for the time being, yes, it's clumsy, but at least you'll be safe against any computer, just in case if Q days happen from like one company in China suddenly say, hey, this is our computer, our quantum computer tomorrow, then you are safe, right? It's a risk that I don't think anyone in the crypto industry should take.
Okay, bear with me because now I'm freaked out. So, one, I'm not really sure how that translates on unit Bitcoin, which people are moving. And then additionally, when we're looking at a liquid staking token like a Q Hype, I think that's what you called it, Ada. To me, that implies the token itself can be a vector of compromise through that process. Because if you need that, in which case, then wouldn't you need all QLab assets to be completely safe and secure from this type of attack?
I can see where you're coming from. I think so I called it a quantum resistant hype. It doesn't have a name yet. The ticker is not bought for that one yet. But
Apologies.
it's going to be a quantum resistant equivalent of hype. So you hold it in a different wallet, and it's in essence like a wrapped coin that cannot be hacked. Does that answer your question?
I'm just saying, so if that's the asset that you're coming out with, and then that lends itself, you hold it in the Q Lab wallet, and that's kind of how you protect yourself from the vectors of attack. then what happens if you put unit Bitcoin in your QLab wallet?
Oh yeah, no, that wouldn't work. There has to be, we haven't gone into details here, but the smart contract itself of the asset has to have extra protection added to it. So the protection is valid for QLab's token, for our own token, and for quantum resistant token that we are offering. However, in the future, we want to offer anyone to use our patented technology and pending technology, which is around zero knowledge proofs. And then in that case, everyone could come and create their own tokens of that. So this would be the next step once we implement these first few assets. And then, as I said, I hope the next step is to protect the whole chain in itself.
So if you want it, so because this is an inevitability though, until that time where, let's say, mass adoption of that security aspect and potentially using your guys' template, for lack of a better word, to do the best way that one's going to be able to protect themselves is to have the wallet and to basically swap into the quantum resistant hype to have in the wallet from whatever, basically to use it as a vault and just but keep the single asset in that wallet. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yeah, or any assets that are powered by our technology. First of all, there's going to be two of them. And then, as I said, like we hope more people will come on board and create potentially wrapped assets of
Is it going to be
wrapped
Monad?
versions of other assets. Sorry?
Is it going to be Monad?
We don't have plans for Monad, but if someone is interested in that, I haven't
I'm
heard
not.
actually
I'm not.
anyone
I'm
talking
just
about
trolling you.
quantum resistance on Monad, but let's check with them. I don't know. So far, from what I saw, and I was not eligible for any airdrops so
Me
far.
neither. That's why I'm
From what
fudding. Fud.
I think people were very, and the team is busy with that aspect, and maybe quantum resistance is going to be next one.
Okay, but so if I wanted to be safe, though, just one more time, get the wallet and then utilize the native token to the ecosystem or tokens as they roll out. That's the
Yeah,
way.
absolutely. Yeah.
Taking just a click deeper. So when if I'm using the quantum safe hype asset, what it sounds like is that this is protected at the smart contract layer. So this would be like something like an ERC20 improvement, like an improvement to the contract that is the ledger for the what sounds like a liquid staking token. Am I understanding that right?
Yeah, synthetic token. And yeah, it's the ERC20 smart contract. And then there are also what Andrew spoke about before. There's also extra protection on the wallet side. So both of them have to correspond.
I see. So the wallet is implementing the whatever this new smart contract needs to do, whatever that extra step that is protecting us. The wallet is essentially compatible with it, where Rabby MetaMask aren't actually going to be able to interact with it like as if it were an ERC20, just because it has that extra quantum
Exactly.
jumbo.
Because the wallet has a quantum resistant key that is created in addition to the traditional one, to the ones that are created right now. So you cannot transfer the assets out of this wallet without the second key or second transaction that is unbreakable. In technical terms, the transaction will be settled on the existing chain twice. First of all, the method it works right now, and on top, the second confirmation that also the quantum resistant transaction data was correct.
Oh,
And we found a way how to squeeze these very big, very large quantum signatures so that they can be settled on the existing chain.
how does that work for the receiving protocols, for the lending and borrowing protocols?
They have to implement our wallet through, it's not going to be difficult, through wallet connect, and then everything has to happen in the safe environment.
So are you guys already making strategic partners with people that are going to be aligned with what you're doing?
W- We are working on that. And then back to what you said before, we don't want announcements about announcements.
Right.
So once it's going to be there, it's going to be there and for everyone to use. And for now, we're cooking.
Well, Toast and I also have a pretty good network even from doing this show, so let us know if we can introduce you to anybody. We'll help you out there.
Oh, that would be amazing, of course. Always happy. Everyone is so helpful. Back to culture, everyone is so helpful. I was so shocked. I was in Singapore and meeting people in the community, and they were like, yeah, we're very interested in that. Yeah, we want to make a video about this, or we want to share it with with our community about that. And I was like, yeah, but like we are not like allocating marketing budget right now. And they're like, no, we're gonna do this for free just because we're interested what people are building on Hyperliquid. And there are so many community members. They said they're gonna send us an invoice, so maybe we're gonna do have to do something with that. But we're getting so much support and help from the community. Really, it has been amazing so far.
It's true back in Singapore and even before that, I think that we've established a culture of working for free, which was great when hype was really high. But now we're stuck here working for free. So we're doing the show for free. I'm we're accepting, we're not accepting donation. I'm just kidding. But yeah, this is very much the strongest sense of community ownership, I think, from any blockchain ecosystem. And that's a side effect of how the core team has delegated as much as possible to the community to build. So it's just an artifact of that ethos where other blockchains look more to their foundations for doing things like hackathons, where I was an organizer in our community hackathon, which are completely community run. So it's just a little bit of a difference, I think, on the foundational level.
I think it depends on how you flip your lens as well. People aren't necessarily working for free. I know that by in doing this show, I've gotten extreme education to better protect my assets, so that makes me wealthier and to trade better overall. I think that it just depends on how people quantify what payment is. I did want to clarify one more piece of the yield attached to the unnamed token. So will is the yield that you guys are taking a piece of within the wallet or any protocol that anyone will be like getting APR and liquidity pools? And how does that work for liquidity pools and stuff? Is that something that's going to all work together?
Yeah, the yield actually comes from because we know like to protect your assets is of course an important incentive, but also we look for yields in this ecosystem. We look for farming options. We want our hype to work for us all the time. And this has worked well for many members in the ecosystem. So people are looking for these opportunities. So we're not saying you just wrap your hype and nothing happens with the underlying asset. While maybe you can stake it, you can put it in some vaults and make additional hype rewards out of that. So you can still do this with us with the underlying asset. We're not changing anything there. We work with the providers that are established in the space. You don't have to put in some kind of strange vault that is new. So you're earning yield from that, whatever way you choose, more risky, less risky, higher APR, lower APR. And we are, as an intermediary, taking a cut from that because we also provide the quantum safe asset, the wrapped asset, as a result.
So just clarifying a little bit more. So say I'm in a liquidity pool getting 16% APR or whatever, you're taking a piece of that yield as well?
So maybe from the user perspective, you can rather imagine this that you connect with your wallet, you have 10 hype, 100 hype in that, and before wrapping them in order to receive the quantum resistant equivalent, you choose from options what is going to happen with that asset. You just want to stake it, so it's 2.2% APY. You want to you want to put it in a vault, it's maybe 7% or 12%, depends on what the providers will offer at that time. So you just make that choice and then you go into the wrapping process, and the yield is going to come to the wallet that you held your hype in, and then once you get the quantum resistant version of the wallet, you see the quantum resistant hype there, and then can further utilize it in the ecosystem where we have the partnerships established.
Okay. I do know you are running a tight thing. Toast, do we want to allow people to come up, ask questions now? Bring them up.
I guess
Okay.
we should. Yeah, we should do that, and we're out of time. I guess I just wanted one more thing, just to read back on the steps we need to protect our entire community from quantum risk will be essentially to take all of our assets. So you're going to blaze trail with your quantum staked asset, which is compatible with your wallet. We're going to need to take all of our tokens and wrap them essentially into a quantum safe, or upgrade the existing token contract to use this technology, and then either use your wallet or upgrade our wallets to also be compatible with that. And then our protocols will also need to integrate this. And these would be the steps for the community to be protected. Am I understanding this right?
Yes, I think this sums it up well. And just one more thing about the aspect of working for free or not for free, how that works. What I noticed, my experience from today, so I'm excited about that. Together with some active community members, we just launched Hyperliquid Germany. I'm based in Berlin, and so far there was no country chapter of such a big country, and actually traditionally very strong in crypto, and especially strong in terms of developers here. And then I reached out to one venue and I told them we're from Hyperliquid, but this is a community that we cannot pay the rent. Maybe you want to host us there, but we are not getting any grant from the layer one or whatever. And then they said, yeah, of course, if this is this way, we want to have Hyperliquid exposure. So just come and do this at our space. So people like value Hyperliquid so much that they're ready to offer a lot of things there. So I was surprised about such positive reception.
Awesome. I love to see these chapters popping up. But yes, to Empress's point, we have a time constraint, so we will now invite our community members. If anyone, I saw several requests to come up all during our conversation. So for those of you who wanted to come up to ask questions, go ahead. Now's your chance. Yes, we have used. Go for it.
Yeah, what's up, Toast? Hey, Empress. What's up, guys? I'm really excited to talk to Andrew and this team here. I never get a chance to talk about quantum tech. A lot of the language, it sounds like we have to defend, or it's villainizing quantum technology a little bit, it sounds like. Whereas in blockchain hybridization, you're integrating with quantum technology to increase security, scalability, efficiency, and capabilities on your system and stuff. And I was just wondering, like, the next stage in this quantum evolution is quantum blockchain hybridization. It sounds like you guys are using classical models to create these levels of encryption and prevent quantum intrusion. What do you guys think about blockchain hybridization and the fact that these photonic quantum computers can actually integrate with our classical infrastructure and fiber optic cabling, even integrate with blockchains? They can interact with the bits and bytes. What do you think about that? And instead of creating ways to defend against quantum technology, I see a lot of people embracing quantum technology as a way to increase encryption and stuff. So I don't know, what do you guys think? Should we be protecting ourselves against quantum technology or integrating it more? And I heard, people think quantum technology is really far away, but we're modularizing a lot of these quantum computers that Andrew was talking about that can actually integrate numerous quantum effects to create all types of multitask situations with that. We're actually modularizing just to one or two effects. And you can actually create some pretty crazy hardware that if you deployed it on the internet, I'm sure you guys understand that the way these things sense the internet is much different than our traditional computers. They can pick up with, connect with, and synchronize or achieve coherence with blockchains to increase encryption. Wouldn't that be better than trying to use classical models to defend against quantum threats?
That's actually a very good topic. In fact, the problem that we have in crypto is that because blockchain is built on classical technology, okay, and to make a total, I would say, paradigm shift of having blockchain totally implementing on quantum platform is certainly something that can be done probably many years down the road. But the existing infrastructure is already there, just like the internet. The internet is already there. And to overhaul the whole internet into something else using some in the quantum industry, they call it the quantum key distribution. It's okay, but then you cannot protect the existing infrastructure, right? You have to have an overhaul of the infrastructure into something else, and before it can be protected. So the existing infrastructure will still be there for many years. So the only practical way for the next probably 10, 20 years would be to protect the existing world and then let the new world develop by itself. I hope I can make it clear. It's just like the gasoline car has been in use for a long time, and then when EV come out, it doesn't replace immediately, right? So the rule has to be adopting and making a transition from one to another. So we do have to protect the existing structure first before moving to the next one. It's inevitable.
So he's not saying that it's resistance against the paradigm shift. It's pivoting with the evolution as it rolls out and being defensive in the process so that the people that are more accelerated can't erode and deteriorate the system as it stands and use that to basically do bad things.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, quantum is really not a villain thing. Quantum is good things. It's just like any good things in the history of mankind,
I mean,
technological
nuclear
advancements.
wasn't a bad thing either. Nuclear or about nuclear bombs, that was a good thing too.
Exactly. That's a very good example. For all the good things, they just have a dark side of it. If you are a Star Wars fans, like Force has a dark
The
side.
yin to the
So
yang.
exactly. So it's no different from quantum. In my opinion, I think the good side in quantum is way overweighting the bad side of it. It's just that you have to embrace the good thing and to protecting the dark side from the damaging something else, like a side effect.
Just was that satisfactory for your neurodivergent mind over there?
I don't want to take you guys down wherever or
Yeah, I
anything like
know you
that.
do. I know
So
you do, but we don't have time for that.
no,
You're gonna
it's
have to catch
cool.
them on a different space for that
No, yeah,
breakdown.
no, definitely. I suppose we are going to need classical models for a while to hold back the people that already have this capability and are using it right now as we speak and stuff. And it's going to be important, I guess, yeah, to hold shit down moving forward. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it would be really fun to talk. I feel like also there's a subtle point, which is just that quantum is going to be expensive to use. So if we're using the nuclear analogy, like the nuclear bomb was the first application because it was an explosive, destructive use of the technology. And the same coin, like Andrew said, before we have practical algorithms implemented in quantum, the easiest, fastest thing to do will be the destructive stuff. So that's cheaper, faster, more accessible, just like the nuclear bomb came before all the safe nuclear energy that we have now.
I do want to be respectful of your guys' time, especially because Addis is in an airport running around. So let's
Thanks.
do not a problem. But I just do want to know. So what next? Just keep noties on or our eyes on the project and pay attention. Is that how we pivot as users?
Absolutely. Just follow us on X. Also, as we're gearing up to the token launch and had this crazy, amazing space, you might find a link to the whitelist for some hours before it disappears. And then just follow our website. Everyone, I think Andrew and the company he's CEO of Zero One Quantum is publishing a lot of interesting stuff on the broader topics related to that. And yeah, let's keep in touch. And we need other spaces. I'm gonna join as a listener for that one, like the futuristic one. What great stuff we're gonna do on blockchain with this new power. I'd be very interested to listen to that.
Yeah, and as you guys roll out, just so you know, please come back. We often have people come back and talk more about their tech as it rolls out and as your services evolve. Just let us know. You can hit us up in that chat. We really appreciate your guys' time. Toast, do you want to say anything else? Because clearly the lady needs to get to going.
Yeah, we can let them go. We have our boilerplate announcement, so we can do, but we don't need our guests here for that. So feel free to drop any
Thank
last
you,
words though
Andrew
from our guests.
Yeah,
and
thank
Ada.
you for having me here.
We appreciate it.
Thank you
Like I
so
said,
much. Thank you. Bye bye, everyone.
stay
Bye
in
bye.
touch. You guys are welcome back. Thanks. Okay.
I just want to take this moment again. Our guests, you are dismissed. Thank you for being here. We have all of our spaces are recorded. We have a community library here on X. So the way that this works is if you go to Empress's profile, you'll see that she's a part of a Hyperliquid community with a little library icon. If you click there, then you'll see all of these recorded spaces that you can find. I also have it on my page, but I went and checked and it looks like I'm in a bunch of communities, so it's harder to find on my page. So use Empress's, look at that community. That's the only announcement I had. Empress, do you have any other announcements for the folks?
You know what? Beep's latest episode posted up in the community as well. So check that out. And he's got some exciting interviews coming up. I'm actually not going to run through the whole spiel. If you guys need to find any one of the numerous spaces that people are running at any given time, I really do my best to retweet it on my page. So just check that out. The reason that I don't want to run through the whole spiel, I pinned it up top. There's a space that I am super interested in checking out today. It is the drivers of cypherpunk, and so some OGs are going to be, I imagine, waxing poetic, and I would like to eavesdrop on that big brain conversation.
All right, then everybody go check out that conversation. Thanks for being here. We will see you next time. Goodbye.